Hey guys, this is Jeff back with another video. I'm pretty much just going to delete all the videos on my channel because they were pretty much rubbish. And lately, I've been fishing a lot of big swim baits. And the common dilemma with buying baits is, how do I get baits that don't break the bank but are still going to be high quality? As you can see, it's got the eyes knocked off, scratches all over the thing. This thing's been torn up and hit left and right. Great bait. Now you may be saying, well, isn't this like a $200 bait? No, it's actually only 20 bucks. This is the Savage Gear Glide Swimmer. And today we're going to be discussing some budget baits and setups to throw big swim baits. So the first thing I would recommend is, I would definitely recommend getting a rod designed for swim baiting and a big round reel that can handle throwing these big baits. The line I would recommend is 20-pound test. So let's go into a budget. This is going to be a little bit steeper. This setup is around $210. Then we're going to go into a really cheap setup that you can use, and it's not going to be able to throw big baits, but for 6 inches or less, you're going to be covered on it. So this is the iRod Genesis 2 in Bailey Swim. This is rated to 3 to 10 ounces. You can throw a little bit more than 10 and a little bit under 3. I've thrown 1.5 ounce baits, no problem with this. Great rod, super sensitive. It's 8 foot long, and it's got a nice flexible tip. So it's really good for throwing big swim baits, so you don't just tear that fish apart. So the reel I'm throwing that on is the Abu Garcia Ambassador. This thing is a tank. They're only like 50 or 60 bucks, depending on where you get them. You can find them on eBay for less than that, I'm sure. This reel is a classic round reel. It's more, it's not really supposed to be casted, and the bail's on the side, which can get a little bit annoying. But these things are super hard to backlash. They hold a crud ton of line, and they're quite smooth, and they cast a long way. But casting distance is really not a problem, because the baits that you're throwing, it's pretty much like fly fishing. You're casting the bait. The reel doesn't really matter, because even if it's the worst reel in the world, it's still going to go pretty far when you're hunking 10 ounces of lead. So this setup, the rod is about 150 bucks. The reel is about 50 to 60 bucks or cheaper. So this comes in at about $200. But what if you don't have that much money? Well, here's the answer for that. What I would say is, and this is the absolute bare minimum of what you're going to need, and this will throw smaller baits anywhere from about 6.5 to 7 inches for soft plastics at least. This is the Abu Garcia Black Max, and this is what most people start out on. This is one of the really old versions. The reel is pretty junky, but the rod, if you look at the ounce rating right there, is rated for 1/4 to 1 1/4 ounce. This bait is about, I would say, 2.5 to 3 ounces. This is a Savage Gear line through shad in 7.25 inches. So this bait's a big bait. This is considered to be a big bait, but this bait is also pretty small, pretty easy to cast. And if you look at the way that this rod bends, it is a very tippy rod. It's got a very loose tip. But when that bait's dangling, it's actually, that tip's not doing too much of the work, and you can cast it very effectively with it. And you can't cast very far, but it can really handle this swim bait very well. And this setup is going to run you about 60 bucks. This swim bait is about 20. So right there, you spent under $100 and you're started in the big swim bait game. Can you cast this as far as that setup over there? No. Can you cast it pretty far and have some decent accuracy with it? Yes. And this swim bait will catch anything. This swim bait is one of the most realistic swim baits you can get as far as gizzard shad imitation. Which, if you're in Texas, that's what you want, is a gizzard shad imitation. This is a line through bait, so this bait's going to last you hundreds of fish if you know what you're doing and you're using it right. You can rig it on the top or on the bottom, and it actually comes with one of these little swing things, so that way you can have the hook swinging free. So that's two of the cheapest combos that I know. Of course, you can get into the more expensive rods if you have that money, but if you're in on a budget, then you really just need something that's going to get the job done, and that's what these can do. Now let's talk about some baits really briefly. This is the Savage Gear line through 3D shad, and this thing is a 3D scan of an actual shad, and it's super realistic. It's got mesh in the joint so it doesn't break on you, and it's line through, which means that when the fish bites it, the bait actually disconnects and slides up your line, so they can't use the leverage of the bait to throw the hook. It's a really cool concept, and it also saves your baits. And instead of normal line throughs where you just stick the hook anywhere and you have to trim off one of the barbs, this one, it actually has a PVC slot meant for it to go in. So it's not coming out and it's not going anywhere. And this bait, you can throw 12 to 15 pound test is what I would recommend, so it doesn't hurt the action. And a rod that's rated for 1 to 3 ounces, or in this case 1 1/4. So now let's go back to the iRod setup and we'll talk about the bait that I've got on that. So this is the iRod Genesis 2 again. This is a pretty beefy rod, and I'm throwing a Savage Gear Glide Swimmer in 8-inch, and I believe this is gizzard shad colored. These things are so durable, and again, they're scanned after a real fish. It's got a really nice back treble on it with a feather, and here's the action in the water. It's got a really nice slow sink and just an enticing side-to-side glide. You can give it a hard twitch and it'll actually do it 180 and it'll be staring directly at that fish. So this is a really great bait, and it's only 20 bucks for the 8-inch version. I believe it's like 15 for one of the 5-inch versions, which you can easily throw on any flip and stick or jig setup. So these are two really great ways to get into swim baiting that are nice and cheap. They're not going to break the bank, but at the same time, they're going to last you a long time. Hopefully you found this video informative and helpful. If you did, go ahead and drop a like and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.